Yes. Yes.
Give me weakness. I want to know, supposing you're used to going out to McDonald's all the time, where should you start off, like a normal American? Where should they begin to change their diet?
Well, I would say the best thing that one can do is to begin to let go, let's say, meat, the dairy products, naturally the goodies like cookies and cakes and candy. And then, of course, using sprouts in its place, using the like coconut in place of meat, using the seed for the milks. See, that's very important to replace. I think you were very wise by asking this question, because actually that's exactly what we all have to do. Start where we are and then begin to improve daily. Take away one thing that is going to be unhealthy and then put something in its place. And before we know it, we are on a road to health and satisfaction of what we are doing in the changing our lifestyle or eating style, whatever you want to call it. But it is, again, that method is better for people that are well. But of course, if people are not well, it's another story. They have to really get to work and do it quick. Any more questions?
Your work has been recognized by several universities, and you have taught a few courses there.
Yes, fortunately, thank Father for this blessing, because I just had a call that they want me to come and teach in a real school nutrition. And of course, this is different from ordinary nutrition. And nutrition, I don't even like to say, because the fact is quite different. Living food and a healthy kind of diet is nothing to do just nutrition, because nutrition generally means cooked food and so forth. But this is opportunities galore everywhere. And I guess we have to really train. We have quite a few teachers right here. They're going to go out and they're going to teach in schools. And it's coming so fast. And it's just, sometimes you just don't know what's happening, but everybody wants to change. And there are demands to go to all kinds of places, states where the spiritual-minded people are beginning to understand that the necessity for cleansing the body so they can become more spiritual, and all kinds of needs now. Any more questions? Anybody? Yes.
Since I've been here at the mansion almost 2 months now, I haven't seen anyone who didn't come here and improve. Is this always the case? Does this program help everyone?
Yes, my dear, it does help everyone. But this, when I say that, I want to say that nature never fails. When you say help everyone, that would depend, again, what effort they would make. You see, when you say it can help everyone, that means they will adopt the program. But if they would just look at it and sort of say it's good, and then go out and have something, outside, they're not going to get the results. But fortunately, as you say, everybody seems to get in results because they're so wonderfully geared to this idea and they're ready for it. And this is wonderful. Again, is just a blessing to have this type of people. But when people are, like Lisa said, on transition, they're not really continuous using this kind of food. They have binges, let's say, and they will work on on good diet, and then they'll zoom. They go out and they'll have some thing, and they'll go on a fast sometimes, and to get rid of that. But again, we have to, each one is different, as each person has entirely a different kind of willpower, you see. So it depends again on them. But again, I want to say nature never fails. I can truthfully say that if you work with the type of things that rebuild the health, you're bound to get the results. It cannot fail. It's a wonderful thing. And I hope everybody will learn to understand it. Its understanding is very important.
Is it true that you can reduce your cost of living drastically on this program?
Well, to just experiment on the reducing cost, I went on so-called strict diet of the things we grow, and naturally you want to be healthy because I have to be healthy. I work many, many hours, sometimes 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so I can't fool around, let's say, with nourishment. I lived for 7 months on 25 cents a day. I was not able to have any fruit. I just continued with the sprouts, the greens, and maybe a little tiny fruit. But I had to watch it very carefully because fruit is very expensive. And so it was really come out beautifully in a healthy form, no trouble at all. But I don't expect everybody to do that, of course. If they could live on, say, 75 cents a day or even $1 a day, very, very healthfully, because they could have avocado, they could have fruit and things of that kind, but not a lot of variety of things that you get in packages. That's what you're paying for. The things are not really nourishment at all. They're just merely something to eat, something to, let's say, enjoy, whatever it is, but not really, solid things that you could build, let's say, the new cells.
So you feel there are more nutrients in live food and you lose the nutrients when you cook?
Well, I should say so. And of course, naturally enzymes, we have to consider that if you do not have enzymes in our digestion system, we would not be able to digest the food as well. And the cooked food do not have enzymes.
Mm-hmm. I understand that you have people here who are suffering from various diseases at one time or another. And what kind of program do you have for them?
Well, we just merely given the tools to the body that is in the form of nourishment, and exactly what we are raised here, that means organically grown things, and the body can help but get better to health. This is most important. Not only supply the missing elements, which most people experience when they have problems of any kind, and mentally and physically, and that they have to be replaced. And this is exactly what we have in a form of this kind of nourishment to replace the missing elements and then actually clean out the bloodstream. And the body just heals itself. Because health is a natural thing. Health is a birthright.
Right. You're holding in your hand wheatgrass.
Yes.
Right? Would you tell us about that?
Wheatgrass is merely a seed that you soak and plant. As you noticed today, we planted in these shallow trays, and then the 7 days period, they cut. See, it's been cut, and juicing will take a few seconds in a regular juicer the juicer that we grow. Use it for the greens and the wheatgrass, and then using the juice as liquid.
Right.
And naturally seem to have elements that no other vegetation has. It's a very life force. In other words, it has the elements that the healthy bloodstream has. So immediately the body begins to cleanse itself and rebuild itself, and naturally that means health.
Right.
That's all.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. What is the green value of the wheatgrass? What is the green properties of it?
The green property is we call chlorophyll. The chlorophyll is the sun. It's the very essence of the sun. You know that sun means health, and sun means that survival. You see, actually, it is a sort of a substitute for the things that are missing from environment, particularly, let's say today we didn't have any sun, and summer times we don't, and winter time rather, we do not have much sun. And of course the air is polluted, and naturally the earth is polluted where the food is grown, and the water too. So we have to depend upon this purity of its life force, which comes from the wheatgrass. It's almost like transfusion. Well, we don't want to call that, of course, but it seemed to give the blood the very life there it needs to be healthy and have energy. Of course, nourishment means exactly that, health and energy.
If I may make an interpretation here, this form of diet and therapy is in direct contradiction to the practice of what we know as medicine and food science in this country and in most of the world. Is that not true?
Yes, but it's a system, my dear. It's a system that this particular system has been going on almost since Hippocrates himself. You see, Hippocrates believed very thoroughly that food was your medicine. And of course, I'm sure living food, but he didn't say that. And didn't think it was necessary those days. I guess everybody was sort of eating as grew, things grew. And then we began to get into the artificial treatments and drugs and all kinds of things. And without realizing, we slipped into the do it for me situation. In other words, what can I do for my problem? And people accepted it. So it is not really fault of the doctors or but just accepted this kind of system, just like the cooked food. See, the cooked food never tended to be. All right, but people like the taste of it, and they like the spicing of it, and all of a sudden we found ourselves with all cooked food mostly. And now because of that, we have sickness, we have problems, we have, I keep saying that the unpolluted body, unpolluted mind, unpolluted environment. So without knowing, we kept polluting things, and now we come to the point where that's the reason you're here, that's the reason there's so much interest, because we want to go back to the very thing that should have been from the beginning, but we always make mistakes and we always have a way to turn back. And this is the most exciting part of it. Go back to nature and work with it. And actually nature cannot fail. You see, nature and God is one. And when we work with what we were created from, let's say, come from the very beginning, naturally, we're just like lost children coming back to the Father's house. And we're going to have a really wonderful time. Because we learn a lot of things. We learn through experience. And we're going to be much wiser and much, much more appreciative nature. I hope that answers your question.
That certainly does. Someone else might like to comment or say something about
the wheatgrass. Can you say something about the cleansing properties of the wheatgrass in the system?
Well, it is the most tremendous cleansing. It's because again, I said the life force, the sun rays from it, and it is just absolutely unbelievable how body can cleanse itself. And
could you explain how there is a need for this nowadays, because we are all subject to pollution and have a certain amount of toxicity in our system, and that this is one of the greatest ways that we can detoxify?
Of course we can, but I also believe that not everybody going to take to the wheatgrass more likely. I believe that if they would go into living food and make transition, and let's say they use greens, they use sprouts, that's very important too. And because that is easy to take. The cleansing from the wheatgrass generally is done when you have sick, but I'm talking about people who are not sick. Prevention is very important. I think prevention is tremendously important right now. The young people need to have better nourishment through the living food, especially organically grown, and also the sprouts are very, very important. And that's why I don't want to, go into too high. Really is a really second step, let's say, to make the cleansing of the wheatgrass. After you begin to make the transition and you begin to appreciate it, then you'll go into the real cleansing. That seems to be satisfying. Good. So I'm just so happy to have you people here. And we have the most wonderful staff, and they're just beautiful. I just love them all because they are dedicated. You see, they're dedicated. And I'm going to have this book, Why Suffer. This is the beginning of the book, Why Suffer, and the paperback, because everyone be able to have it. This is 5 years old practically, and it's a 10th printing right now, and I'm just very eager to have it in paperback because this is the very beginning of the work. Let's say when the book came out, and it's just going to be beginning of the new life for many people. I have letters constantly coming in now, and they said, well, I read the Why Suffer, and I'm just thrilled to think that I can do something about helping myself.
Dr. Ann, you really haven't told us what this book is all about. You're too modest. This is about your childhood and how your grandmother raised you over in Europe, and your many adventures and the long path and road that you took leading up to your many discoveries in the field of nutrition, and many of your adventures in America. And I know you have many things to say to people about this.
Well, it will take too long, of course, but I'm going to try to give a little bit, tiny bit highlights about it. First of all, I was born sickly. I was one of those children that my parents didn't think was worth saving because I was premature and very sick. And so they put me in the back of the barn for the wolves because they thought, well, they were coming to this country and they were ready to travel and they didn't want to be stopped because naturally they had their appointments with various things take care of. And so my grandmother, she was the one that saved me to begin with. She said that no child should be disregarded, especially, of course, girls, they not think much of in these countries, Lithuania, way back in the woods. My grandmother was a physician. She was a natural nature doctor, and she really thought it was a challenge to take somebody. And I had to stay in the barn for a long time because I screamed and screamed. Couldn't keep me in the house. But anyway, the animals were very happy to have me there because it was warm and cozy. And so when I got older, after the First World War, my grandmother said to me, "You're going to America." I says, "I don't want to go to America." And she says, "Well, there's a reason for it. And I want you to get ready and to go. And no matter what happens, don't question me now. I don't even know myself, but I know you should go. I have feeling, intuition that you should go to America. And everyone that does the things they should when they have feeling of that kind, it's going to turn out all right. But boy, when I come to this country, and naturally I was thinking the streets are lined with gold and all that sort of thing, after everybody got me pepped up. But when I came here, I had real, honest, good struggle, tremendous struggles, because there I was eating the American food. Naturally, one become Americanized. And then I got really sick again. After I got better, I got sick. And then I began to turn back to nature, just exactly what you've been doing. Everybody's doing right now. I had to go back to nature, and I had to really get better, which I did. And this is the reason I'm here now. This is the reason I want to say that America is one of the greatest countries in this world. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the country at all. Only thing that's wrong is because we have been sloppy and been, let's say, negligible and not appreciating things. Because I realize so fully, and I'm so grateful, and the chance that I have to do things for others, to really be able to be of service, because exactly what we're here for in this world, to do things for others. And believe me, there's nothing more important now is to everybody pitch in and work, especially our young children. And I see them all excited today, and it was really great. And I am trying to impart to them that we are living in the most wonderful country in the world, and we really appreciate it. And do everything we can to go back to the right way of living, healthy and happy and naturally alert in mind, and do more than ever because of the experience we have had being, let's say, not healthy.
If a whole group of people wanted to get a lot of avocados or coconuts, something like that, do you have a place where you can buy in bulk?
You want to know if you can buy things in bulk. Yes, you can always buy things in bulk by going into marketplaces. The marketplaces generally open once or twice a week, and you can get them by the case. And the best way to buy seeds, I think, is go into a grain place and buy a 100-pound bag, and naturally it would be a very, very healthy way to get the kind that they give to the cattle, because if you don't buy your seed for that reason, they may be chemicalized, they put some sprays on it, but they can't do that for cattle, because they have to have pure seeds, otherwise they would and be poisoned. So this is the safest way to and the air ones do have good seed too. And I would say that the best way to buy your vegetables organically there, it's quite expensive, but in the market, buying big quantities, you can get them wholesale.
Could you say something, Dr. Ann, about food combining?
Yes, the combining food is very important too, especially people with poor digestions. The fruits and vegetables do not go together. It's best to have as much of the one of a kind as possible, especially in the form of fruit. And now the combining the greens, the sprouts, the seed, and the naturally avocado and such as that is a good combination. But we do not use the fruit and vegetable together. Is that satisfying?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to know any more?
Yes, I have a question. Getting back to chemicalization, I'd be interested to know what you think about drinking water, or what you would do concerning your water intake.
The water naturally is a very important matter because they claim now, the scientists claim that it can interfere with your mentalities. What we do generally, we do have we call a purifiers. And the wonderful thing about this wheatgrass, when you put the wheatgrass in the water, it counteracts the chemicals. It doesn't take away anything, but it does counteract the chemicals. It's, when I wouldn't even take a bath without a little bunch of wheatgrass in the water, because I can tell the difference. The reason is that I had a scientist came one time here, and he tested the water when he filled up the tub for the water, for bathing, and there was chemicals in it. And then when he had his bath, soaked in it, the chemicals were gone. A lot of chemicals were gone. In other words, no wheatgrass, just plain water. Showing that the body absorbs some of the chemicals, you see. So this is the reason that we don't put anything in the water, because it does absorb. You see, especially warm water, because the pores open up and it absorbs the chemicals. So I always have a wheatgrass, a little bunch, and I put it in the water. I go zoom, zoom in the water. And then I take it out and put it in a glass for the next time. So you don't have to waste that wheatgrass. And it's a very, actually, what would happen if we had a, say, explosion of the bomb exploded, the kind that can kill you, and atomic bombs and so forth. If you had wheatgrass in your house, or you had it outside, it wouldn't touch it. It wouldn't touch it. You can't.
It neutralizes the radiation?
It does. I want to tell you a little story about it if you want to listen to it. I was experimenting. I had loads of time years ago. That was 15 years ago. And I was experimenting all kinds of things. Naturally, I discovered that the radiation doesn't touch, the wheatgrass doesn't touch radiation. And there were 2 scientists in Canada who experimented on a field of wheat, field of wheat grass growing. They didn't know anything about wheatgrass. But anyway, they want to know if the wheat that grew in the field and the radiation was there, if the people eat the bread, it wouldn't poison. See, that was the idea. Well, anyway, they were very jubilant because they said it didn't touch it. It was perfectly safe. It was beautiful. Well, I wrote to them and I said, now listen to you. I want you to just realize that this counteracted the radiation. This wheatgrass counteracted radiation, but it will not counteract other things. But they didn't believe me at all. They said, mind your own business. They said, well, anyway, I wasn't satisfied. So I wrote to the Queen, England. And I said, now I wrote to the scientists and I told me, what they did say. And they said, what do you think about it? I said, this is a very dangerous thing. I said, they think that everything is safe. And they wrote, of course, the Queen wrote to the scientists. They wrote back to me and they apologized for that. And I received a very nice letter from the Queen. And so you see, it is very important for us to know what's all about when we work with nature.
You are working on a petition to take to the government about seeds. Would you like to talk about that?
Well, I really, more than anything now, I want to teach about the seed value. The seed value is the most important thing right now because you see, the seed, the sprouting multiplies 6 times the amount of food, which they all claim that's going to be shortage of food. So naturally, I'm trying to get petitions. If anybody wants to send in their name and help me to go to Washington and say, look, there's a great interest in seed, so that the government will give us some seed. That the schools should have seed, and the people on the welfare should have seed to do things with, instead of giving them, the canned stuff. And we really want to teach other countries the value of seed, because instead of sending them a flour, which they make the mush out of it and give it to the children, give them seeds. Let them sprout the seeds. And let the government give them the know-how, because we're willing to do all our part, but let them give us a go-ahead sign, so-called, and then it would be a wonderful thing, I think, for everybody that has problem with the food, not only because of depleted food, but because their claim is a shortage and expensive and so forth. And I just hope the seed idea will come through very, very nicely. And it will, of course.